I received the message back in December, but it's really been on my heart to talk about it. I think more often than not, this is a problem that a lot of married people have. And the message said, I need help. I really hate my spouse. Now, hate is a strong word. And I want to preface this by saying that hate is a symptom, which means that there is something underlying that is causing the hate. And more times than not, what causes hate in relationships is unmet expectations. You have an expectation that your marriage was supposed to be this way, that it was supposed to provide these certain things, and for whatever reason, it's not providing those things. Now, let's start with the obvious deal breakers, things that you cannot repair even with therapy. So, the reason why someone would hate their spouse or hate their marriage could be something as detrimental as abuse, physical abuse, mental, sexually, socially, psychological abuse, narcissism, disorders that causes or that affects how your spouse shows up in the relationship. And it also can be things like neglect, severe neglect, cheating, repeated cheating, repetitive lying. And so those things can really sour the relationship to the point where if milk is sour, you can't fix sour milk. You have to throw it away. You have to disregard it. So the first thing that you need to ask yourself, if you are a person that really feels the same way, I hate my relationship, I hate my marriage, are those things happening? Those are non-negotiables. Those are things that you don't argue about. If someone is cheating on you, if they are constantly disregarding and dishonoring you, then you have to make a decision that is best for you. And typically what therapists, I'm not a licensed therapist, but what therapists recommend, if the person does not change their behavior, you have to change yours. And that usually means you leaving the relationship and choosing what is healthy for you. And in every situation, it doesn't matter what that situation is, if there is abuse, you should not stay. If there is abuse, you should not stay. It is not safe for you. It is not safe for your spouse. The second thing, and really what is most common in relationship, is unmet needs. As I said before, you have a need. The need is not being met. Your feelings got hurt. There was betrayal. There was neglect. There was repeated disappointments. There was a promise made that wasn't kept. Those things really cause your relationship to expire. It really causes it to. It puts a damper on relation. It puts a damper on the relationship, and it makes it where you just are not. You're not happy. And I don't care what anybody says. You shouldn't be unhappy in a marriage. A marriage is supposed to provide some level of happiness, some level of comfort, some level of ease. And if you are in a relationship where there is no happiness, there is no joy, there is no safety, there is no peace, you should not be in that relationship. Right? God doesn't want that for you. You shouldn't want that for yourself. So the reason why you would hate your relationship is unresolved resentment. Another thing is just feeling unheard and feeling unseen. And I always say this, guys, one way to quickly ruin a relationship is to not see your partner. Is to not notice your partner. Is to not notice when they're silent, to not notice when they're hurting, to not notice when they need extra support, to not notice when they need loving, to not know when they've checked out, because partners deal with things too. They check out. It may not have anything to do with the marriage. It could be just a feeling of overwhelm, just overwhelmed. If the mother is a stay-at-home mom, she could just be overwhelmed with the responsibilities of taking care of children. If the husband is the only one working, he could just be overwhelmed with the task that comes with providing for a family by himself. There could be just illness and sickness and friendships dying and situations shifting that could cause your partner not to show up in the way that you would need them. And so when you are not attentive to your partner, you miss the subtle signs that they've checked out. And a lot of times, by the time couples get to me or by the time they get to counseling, what happens is there's been so many checkouts and so many disappointments and so many unresolved issues that by the time they get to help, that you can't help them because they're too far gone. So the way to circumvent that is to notice the moment your partner checks out. Another thing is poor communication. We have not learned how to communicate to our spouses. And number two, we don't realize that it is safe to communicate to our spouses. I once talked to this woman who said, I am not happy in sex. I am not enjoying sex. And one of the things that I asked her was, did you tell your spouses things that you like and the things that you dislike? And she said no. And I said, why? And she said, because I think you will be mad at me. There should never, ever be a genuine feeling that if you express concern, now there is a right way to do it and there is a wrong way to do it. But there should never, ever be a genuine overwhelm or fear that you cannot communicate your needs. Whether your husband is not getting enough sex or whether you are not, as a wife, feeling sexually satisfied, you should be able to express that in a safe, supportive environment. Now, doing sex is not the time to say that. Like, get off of me, you're not meeting my needs. But when you are on a date, or when you are in a calm environment, or when you are relatively in a healthy space, then it's the time to say, I'd like to try this. I want to have a better sexual experience, and maybe we can try this. Would you be open to that? 9 times out of 10, your partner will be open to try, especially if they are in the business of making you happy. But if you feel like marriages and relationships are not to make you happy, you are going to feel unsettled in asking for the things that make you happy. And guys, there are going to be happy moments in marriage. There are going to be sad moments in marriage. There are going to be unsettling moments in marriage. There are going to be times that you're going to have hard conversations. But let me just say this flat-footed with my whole heart. You should not be in a marriage that does not make you happy, right? Your marriages should make you happy, okay? And if you're not happy, you need to get to the root of why that's not happening. The last thing that I want to talk about is stress and outside pressure, loss of emotional and physical intimacy. Guys, life be lifing, right? And it affects your spouse in ways that you don't even realize that they're being affected. And the way that you really circumvent these things from piling up on you where you can't deal with it is the moment you start to see the trash getting in the trash can, you take it out. You deal with it at that moment. You check in. And this is the reason why we say check-ins are very important, because you don't wait until your husband or your wife gets a crisis. You notice the moment they check out. You notice the moment they feel unseen or feel unheard, or they're no longer smiling the way that you like them to smile. Sometimes my husband says, I haven't seen you smile in a day. A day. If he hasn't seen me smile in a day, he immediately checks it. And if I see him quiet or processing really hard, I immediately check it. I don't wait for a week. I check it that moment. And that's how you keep your marriage healthy.